Thank you for joining me on this special bonus episode of Utah Stories program. This is going to be your comments, also a little bit about more on our mission, our values, our purpose, what we're doing with the magazine, why we are still in print. I want to go into that because I would like to build out this community online even stronger and bigger, and I want to give you a good reason why you should be a part of it. I think that there are a lot of issues, especially about surrounding the affordable housing crisis we found ourselves in, that are just not getting the coverage they need or deserve in the mainstream media because they are not things that can be talked about in 2 or 3 minute sound bites. I mean, that's the format broadcast journalism goes in, and these are issues that affect our quality of life, that affect the shrinking middle class we find ourselves in, affect millennials, affect everybody, and they're not being talked about because a lot of people, I feel, are really um, either disengaged from the media or just distracted by social media and by YouTube and everything that is out there. There's so much media out there. There's so much of the what. You can find out what is going on wherever you look on the internet, whether you go to social media, whether you go to local news. There's a lot of the what, but I mean the how and the why. How things are happening, why they're happening, examining things from the lens of history and economics is really what this program is about. We want to take a 1,000-foot view and say, okay, this is shifting right now. Our housing price compared to wages is higher than ever before. What can we compare this to? What can we do about it? I really, really appreciate Reddit. I have to say, I was not very familiar with Reddit until about 3 months ago, but it is so far superior to Facebook. I have to tell you, shift to Reddit. Come and join us at that community over there. And not just Utah Stories content, all of the local content that is important is talked about on the Salt Lake City Reddit page. And so I want to share with you some really good comments we've gotten from that page. Okay, this is just on, posting the story. I posted a different one on the video, but it got about 31 comments. And I want to first point out the first one. This is Denise Adaptness. These are not, you don't use your real name, and that's kind of what I like about Reddit. It's more anonymous. So if you share a lot of more personal information, it's all anonymous, and people are willing to make more in-depth comments. But she says, first thing the article missed is that the new home construction isn't anywhere close to meet demand. Look, I get the people with larger incomes are making huge offers on houses, but the city is zoned like it's in the 1950s. Until we legalize the construction for more dense housing, this isn't going away. So that's why I really felt like we needed this follow-up episode that we just recorded. It's the episode right before this one. What can be done about it? Obviously, we need more lax zoning regulations. Developers should just be able to build to meet demand. They shouldn't have to go through so many hoops and so many processes to certainly people should have to get a say in what's being built, but it needs to be fast tracked. It needs to be happening more quickly. And so here's what this guy said from Automata SLC. He said, new construction won't change things overnight. Also, zoning changes alone cannot make roads wider or upgrade the city infrastructure to support more houses. Switching to higher density is necessary, but it's the kind of thing that takes many decades. We also need people to start being more realistic about where they live. I know too many people who work from home, never use public transit, never go out to bars or events, and get 99% of their entertainment online at home, yet they refuse to live anywhere other than downtown and the nicer parts of Sugar House. If everyone continues to insist on living in the same spots, prices in those areas will continue to be high. So where I agree with you is it's not going to change overnight unless we change our consumer behaviors. I mean, the manner in which we live. And I pointed out in the previous episode, you go to Europe, like I spent a year living in the UK, nobody in their 20s owns a car. And you just stop and think about it. If you don't own a car, you have an enormous savings. You have an enormous cost burden taken away. If you can get around quickly and easily using transit, and I think very soon autonomous vehicles will be able to get us around quickly and easily, that is going to be a huge burden off your back and allow people to save much more easily. And on top of that, the infrastructure built for trails and bike paths in Europe is so far superior to what we have here. And I know anybody who is right leaning is going to say, "Oh, look at this guy. He's pointing out these socialistic ideas." And it's not a socialistic idea to build more infrastructure that's less expensive for bicycles and for pathways than it is our super expensive infrastructure, our giant, massive freeways for cars. It's actually cost savings. It's cost effective. And transit, getting more people around through tracks or front runner or trains on trails, that just reduces the amount of space that we're going to be requiring. Because if you drive downtown every single day, you need a big parking spot for your car, and everybody does that times 30,000 people who enter downtown Salt Lake City every day. Imagine the space savings we would have if we just got rid of all of those cars. So I think you got a good point, but I think we could do it a lot more quickly than you realize if we just change the infrastructure to accommodate more bikers. So this guy says, he says, "This is so true. I'm exactly one of those people, not being realistic where I live. I mean, I'm trying to live in the fun, hip neighborhood. When I've gotten older, I tend to participate less and less." And he's basically saying he lives near Liberty Park, but maybe he's going to move away because property taxes keep going up and up. And on related topics, can someone please rename West Valley City? You get so much more house for your money there. I've seen some cute neighborhoods and houses, but West Valley, I just can't. I agree. That is a pretty bad name, West Valley. Just sounds like lower income. And I agree, we need to examine the places that have been dealing with limited space for much longer than we have. I lived in the UK. This guy feels like just like me, where a few people in their 20s drive cars. Everybody uses transit, just exactly what I just said. And I absolutely agree. You just have to look to countries, areas that have space issues, where they've run out of space. We've been building in Utah like we would never run out of space. That's been the model for the last 100 years, obviously. And we're running out of space. We can't just call for denser housing. The problem with just calling for denser housing is that developers are building to cater to the highest wage earners in the state. They can sell condos for huge amounts, and I think the overall rezoning of massive or relaxing the zoning is the answer. This is pointed out at the end of the podcast video, and then this person agrees with me. Anyway, then this person down here, Automatic SLC, points out that if you build a ton of high-end luxury condos, as we pointed out in the last episode, you're actually alleviating the housing problem. Because if you're building even just for the top end of the market, that will trickle down to the lower ends of the market. So all these people are saying, "Oh, this is so terrible. We're building so much high-end apartments and condos." No, it's actually alleviating the problem, because everybody lower down on the social spectrum is going to have more affordable housing if the wealthiest people are taken care of first. And I think that'll trickle down as time continues. And if we come up with a housing model that allows for tiny home communities. And I just want to point out one thing. I want to show you this tiny homes in Austin. I think that as Austin is getting a lot of the people from California, they're coming up with really smart ideas, and they've totally embraced this idea of tiny home communities. And this Village Farm has these really beautiful little tiny homes. I mean, they're somewhere between I think as little as 200 square feet up to 600 square feet. But look how cool these things are. They use a second level. They have a porch out in front. This one's called Sea Breeze. You don't have a garage attached, of course. But this is 399 square feet, full kitchen, 1-bedroom loft. And the idea of this Village Farm community is you actually have a farm that's in the center of it, a community farm, and people have lots of shared spaces where you can get around. If you want to have a parking stall, you pay extra for it. But there's community gardens, picnic barbecue areas, green gate farms, pool and jacuzzi, dog parks. You can just get a lot for your money because of the amenities. And the beauty of this model compared to what we're doing here in Salt Lake, just building tons of apartments and condos, is you can be an owner. I mean, the whole idea of, I think, America that makes us stand out is if you are an owner of property as opposed to a renter, when you finally own a piece of property, you have equity in it. And that puts you on a path to building wealth. And once you've built wealth, you have far, far more options in your career, in your lifestyle, in your job, in becoming an entrepreneur, doing whatever it is you want to do. And everybody needs to be put on that path. Everybody needs to be allowed to be able to go on that path because that goes in line with the American dream. And so that is very much about, that segues into what I want to talk about with Utah Stories Magazine, in that we are trying to keep our print edition of Utah Stories alive. Honestly, there are lots and lots of small businesses switching over to just digital. And I get it. Facebook has a very amazing way to target a local audience, and you can check all your data. You can get all those intricate analytics back from Facebook or Google. But to have a print product delivered to your home, which is all local journalism, where we have these amazing writers working for us each month, is really something special, because big tech censorship cannot touch this. I mean, we've been actually a victim of Facebook's censorship's algorithm. Somehow we were flagged and targeted and shut down for monetizing our posts or boosting our posts. So if we put anything on Facebook, we're reaching like 10 people out of our 4,500 followers. And this has happened to so many people, and big tech is putting the smackdown on independent local publishers. So we'd like to ask you to consider subscribing to Utah Stories Magazine. It's $2 a month. It's a print product delivered right to your door every single month, where you get not only these awesome stories, but these incredible local advertisers who have been with us for years, like Green Pig Pub, this is Legends Bar and Grill, Wolcott's Optical, Art Floral, and it's really the way we fight back against tech censorship. We support other voices other than what big tech supports on their platforms. And so if you would go out to utahstories.com, our website, and you can see what the magazine looks like here. It's filled with awesome local stories, and Utah Stories has never been all about me. It's been about supporting a platform that supports exceptional local journalism. And we have really exceptional stories this month about why we're running out of water. Dan Pott's story on Utah Lake is incredible. The story that he did, he's spent so much time on Utah Lake that he understands what it is about it that makes it so special. That was captured very well. The story about Wallace Stegner, one of our best legacy writers that's ever been in Utah, and the legacy of Wallace Stegner at the University of Utah. He taught there for 30 years. He wrote Big Rock Candy Mountain, one of my favorite books, and Amy Maxwell did an awesome job on that story. It's really a great issue. I'm really proud of this issue. I'm proud of what we do in print. I mean, you tell people you're a digital publisher, and you tell them you got a podcast and a website, and you say that you also have a magazine. It's almost like the magazine is been relegated to this idea of something that's dying. And it's a sad thing, because I think print holds value. If you consider that it's just $2 a month, if you take these magazines and do like what a lot of our readers do, just collect them, wait 30 or 40 years, I guarantee you each copy of this magazine will be worth a whole lot more than $2. So join our readership, consider doing it. But all you do is you go down here, you click on subscribe. that pops up this window. You can then subscribe to the magazine. You can put your first and last name in here, address, and then we just bill you $24 and you get it for the entire year. So with that, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being a part of Utah Stories. This was a shout out to you. Thank you so much for helping build this community. We had our best web week ever last week. That's all thanks to you, and I just wanted to tell you how much I appreciate it. So I'll see you next time. Thanks again for watching.